Welcome back to this edition of Grizzlies Daily. I'm your host Melek, and bear with me, y'all. This is the second time I'm recording this. I kid you not. I had this video ready to come out earlier today by the time you're watching this, and my audio cut out. So I was talking for like 5 to 8 minutes, and y'all wasn't able to hear a thing. So bear with me, and we gonna make sure this episode has sound. I'm looking at the audio levels right now. That's why I'm looking to the left of me. We good. We're good. So let's just get straight to it. Let's just get straight to it. I'm sorry. I'm a little. Bear with me. I just got off work, so we're gonna try to power through this. So one of the things that I had discussed the first time I recorded this was the projected depth chart for the Grizzlies. So, this was put out by Cole, Creamy Cole on Twitter. I'm sure if you know about him, you know him. This is basically the projected depth chart. Now, when I say these names, I do want to account for the fact and let y'all know that he did not include Jaren and Zach Edey for this because they're both injured. So just want to keep that in mind when I say these names. So at point guard, obviously we got Ja Morant and Scotty Pippen Jr. No surprise. Shooting guard, KCP and Ty Jerome. Once again, no surprise. Small forward, we got Jalen Wells and Vince Williams Jr. And then at power forward, we got Santi Aldama and Gigi Jackson. And then at center, we got Jock Landale and Brandon Clark. Once again, I'm saying these names knowing the fact that Jaren Jackson Jr. and Zach Edey are both injured. So that's why I didn't say the names. And then in the reserves, we got Cedric Howard, Cam Spencer, John Conchar, PJ Hall, Javon Small, and Olivier Maxence-Prosper. So my thoughts on this real quick. Vince Williams and Gigi Jackson is interchangeable in the position, but I do understand why they have Gigi in the power forward because Gigi does have power forward height and length, so I definitely understand the whole thing behind that. The only thing really that kind of is throwing me off, and it's not necessarily a depth chart thing, but it's more so the fact with the Grizzlies. We haven't heard anything regarding Cedric Howard since he got drafted. I mean, this is a guy that we thought would possibly play in Summer League, but he didn't, and now we're stuck here. So we haven't heard any type of updates, and it's just very weird because this is a lottery player, so you would think we hear something by now, but we haven't. And that's a little concerning. I can't lie. That's a little concerning. So hopefully we get an update regarding him because if we don't, then I'm gonna start to get really concerned. When it comes to depth chart though, I don't really have anything. If I'm being honest, it sounds about right. I definitely do think out of all the two-way contracts, they're on the reserves for a reason. And one thing I will say about this depth chart, I do think by the time, let me not say I do think, I hope that this is a different team come by the trade deadline. The reason being, looking at this roster right now, it's a good roster, not a championship contender though. So maybe we see some changes come by the trade deadline. Who knows? I'm here for it. If not, we tried. We tried. We said what we could. Hopefully the team just decides to make some moves and, get better in certain positions. But as far as people already on the team that are already in good positions, talk about Scotty Pippen Jr. We're talking about a guy who had a pretty good year last year, especially towards the tail end of the year when he had more opportunities. Showed off his level as a good perimeter defender that kind of caught people off guard. We're also talking about a guy who found his shot really late in the year, which it actually almost worked out for the Grizzlies. It really almost did. Unfortunately, it didn't really come into the win column because it happened during the playoffs against OKC. But it's good to see Scotty Pippen Jr. kind of find his confidence. Looking at his stats from last year, I'm going to pull up right here. I believe he averaged about 10 points per game, which was a dip from last year, but you also have to remember the fact that last year the Grizzlies had one of the craziest years out of any team because they simply were so depleted because of injuries. So I have it pulled up right here. He averaged 10 points a game, 4.4 assists, and 3 rebounds, and he shot 48% from the field, 40% from three, and 71% for the free throw line. So definitely got to improve the free throws. I like the shooting though. I like the numbers when it comes to the shooting. The only thing about Scotty that really just kind of concerns me, he does have 1.7 turnovers a game. Now that's one less than what he had last year because he had 2.7 last year. But 1.7, it's a trend in the right direction, but it still is a little too high for somebody at the point guard position. So hopefully that changes up. And I think honestly with that, I think Scotty Pippen Jr. actually has a great case for someone who wants to compete for awards such as Sixth Man of the Year and even Most Improved Player. Even though I think Most Improved Player is probably one of the more flawed awards in the season because let's just real half the people that won the award didn't really deserve it, or I feel like shouldn't even met the criteria for it. If I'm being honest, even when Ja won it, it wasn't really like he was like the most improved player out of anybody. I mean, he took a leap, but he was the second overall pick. You expect him to take a leap, but I digress. So if he's up for most improved player, I wouldn't be surprised, but I definitely would like to see if he could make a good case for Sixth Man of the Year because last year Santi Aldama made a solid case at first and then kind of fell off a cliff after that. So yeah, I mean Scotty Pippen Jr. He's due for a breakout year. I think he can really put the league on notice with a good turnaround this year. Somebody that I think the Grizzlies are really high on, including Scotty Pippen Jr. is Olivier Maxence-Prosper. Now if y'all remember when I first told y'all this news, and keep it real with you, I didn't really know much about Buddy. I just gotta be real. I didn't know much about it, but I'm seeing growing optimism about him being on the Grizzlies. I've seen a few articles describe him as another 3-and-D wing that the Grizzlies may have stolen from people. Right now, I got to be honest, I don't necessarily look at it as a steal, but it happens. So I think definitely, going forward, we can definitely see something happen with him, and we can see it, on a two-way deal. He's probably going to play with the hustle more than anything, but looking at his stats from what I read, he plays very good in the G League. It's just that transition to the NBA is where things really get rocky for him. I mean, I think he was a 20-point scorer in the G League, so he has the capabilities to be a pretty good player in the league. It's just that when he gets to the actual NBA, that's where we kind of see a drop off in his game and his production. So if he could find a way to really transition that from the G League to here, not saying he's just gonna be a 20-point scorer because I don't think he's gonna be that on the Grizzlies. He definitely has the trajectory to really find himself as a reliable role person. So if he can develop and the Grizzlies can develop him very good, I think we can really look at this and say the Grizzlies found another hidden gem. Now, if you find a hidden gem in him, you got to figure out who you're going to move on from. Now, whether that's Vince Williams Jr., Gigi Jackson, John Conchar, even though I am a firm believer that they will still try to move John Conchar, you got to think about who's next because that's a two-way deal. And if you convert it fully guaranteed within a year or two, you got to have some uncomfortable conversations. That's all I'm going to say. You got to really have some uncomfortable conversations when it comes to that. So we'll have to see. Now, before we get out of here, obviously we're there in training camp, so there won't be any type of rumors or anything. Maybe like training camp deals that get announced. Other than that, y'all know we ain't going to expect no rumors for real. Now, something that not going to say it's a rumor, but something that I kind of thought about. I saw a tweet from NBA Central, I believe. It was basically talking about how the Philadelphia 76ers may move on from Kelly Oubre. And I got to be honest, I wouldn't hate the idea of having Kelly Oubre on the Grizzlies. I really wouldn't. He's a veteran. He's a pretty good three-point shooter. Pretty decent perimeter defender. I wouldn't say he's like the best, but he's pretty good in the perimeter. And I think at this point in his career, he's not necessarily. I'm not going to say he's the person at the three spot that the Grizzlies absolutely need, but he definitely brings some good intangibles to the team. I mean, we're talking about a guy he has experience in the league. He's played with some of the best players in the league that we've known, from Joel Embiid to John Wall, Bradley Beal, players like that. So he's played with some pretty good talent. The only thing that really just concerns me with him is just his consistency. We know Kelly Oubre is good when he's playing ISO ball, but can he keep that consistently in a system where he's kind of playing off ball and really just kind of trying to find his role? We've seen him adjust. One thing I can say, I've seen Kelly Oubre adjust, and I've always been high on Kelly Oubre since he was on the Washington Wizards. So I wouldn't hate the idea if the Grizzlies ever tried to make a call, at least for Kelly Oubre. I think making a call is definitely worth it, especially if Philly's looking to move on for him. And then, you got guys that, like I said, we're going to have some uncomfortable conversations soon about who gets moved on from what. We already basically know that John Conchar is going to get moved soon. I don't see him staying by the end of the year, but if he does, shout out to him. I think that's just the reality of that. But Kelly Oubre on the Grizzlies, if it were to happen, I wouldn't hate it. I think for a team that's missed on Cam Johnson and plenty of other players, Kelly Oubre would not be a bad sign. That's just the reality of it. So maybe we hear something later on in the year. Maybe we get some revitalized rumors. Who knows? But that's just something that I saw, and I was like, you know what? Let me bring it up, because who knows? Maybe I'm not the only person that's pretty high on Kelly Oubre. So maybe y'all do too. I'd love to hear it. If y'all are, make sure to leave a comment if you do. But that's going to wrap this edition of Grizzlies Daily. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Just want to get some quick things real quick, because obviously, y'all, like I said, I read the comments, y'all. I read the comments. I want to say I may have found a way to adhere to the request of getting, background video going as well. Now, I want to be clear on this. The reason I say that is because I need you to understand I don't edit these videos. I don't post them. I work through someone, so that's why I'm just I'm paying attention to comments and relaying the information. So I'm working on something about that. If I can, y'all will see it in the next few episodes, hopefully soon. And if I can get that, that'll help y'all out and that'll help me out. Another thing that I've been seeing, when it comes to the titles, like I said, I don't really come up with those. So if any of y'all feel like y'all are being clickbaited, I truly apologize. Never want anybody to feel that they're being baited to watch the content, because I do understand a lot of y'all really do tune in to learn more about the Grizzlies, and I feel that these titles, some of the titles have been exaggerated, but I definitely don't want it to deter you all from your viewing experience. So sorry about that if anybody feels that way. I really do. Like I said, I'm just kind of rambling right now because this is my second time recording this, and I said these things. So, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like I said, this video was supposed to come out earlier. Like I said, audio's been good the whole time. I have not looked away from this screen. The audio's been good the whole time. So, shout out to y'all for watching. I appreciate y'all. If y'all like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you get notified when the next episode comes out. As to the edition of Grizzlies Daily, I'm signing off.